The global climate crisis is one that plagues the conscience of many, while many others may regard it as fake news. Much to the advantage of the survival of the planet, and to us, many of the brightest minds are working tirelessly studying, advocating, teaching, and inventing new solutions to slow the effects of climate change. Supporting the brightest minds are us, the average citizens, who are passionate about playing our role as good students of our planet. These people may reduce, reuse, and recycle, but may also be very unaware that the factories that make their clothes are also largely polluting the planet. It's popular for eco-conscious people to bring their own grocery bags to stores, but are they all aware that the places that they shop may be designing their clothes with the intentions of only being used a handful of times, only to be thrown into landfills in order to start the next trend? Fashion trends are always changing, which pressures consumers to constantly be buying more clothes. And it's largely left out of the context of the climate conversation. For Dallas locals who are passionate about climate change, it's time to ask ourselves, are we being consistent in our fight against climate change, or is our money going into the pockets of major corporations who are harming the people and the planet by the way that we are purchasing our clothes? According to the EDF, the most dangerous thing that the climate crisis is facing right now are the ever-rising greenhouse gases emitted by burning fossil fuels in energy and transportation. The textile industry is an extremely under-promoted contributor to the pollution of the planet, and the World Health Bank reports that it contributes to 10% of the world's total carbon emissions, 20% of the world's water waste, uses 93 billion cubic meters of water, and leaves the oceans flooding with microplastics. ASU's Dr. Fegan discussed an innovative idea as being something new and novel introduced into the context. Although the textile industry's contribution to climate change is a scientific fact and is not new, many people do not know these things, and my theory is that that is only because it has yet to reach its peak popularity amongst mainstream media. For example, compared to the plant-based movement that we're currently encountering. So I want more people to know about the harm that industrialized fashion has on the planet. I know it's not new information for the public, but many people today, especially those interested in climate conversations, many young people, 30s and under, seem to be largely unaware of the issue. And if they are aware, it's not changing any behaviors or habits. I want to introduce the reality of the textile industry's contribution to climate change, as well as safer clothing brands and other options like that into the climate change discourse in Dallas, Texas. Since I'm not famous, obviously, and don't have that much power as an individual at this time in my life, my plan is merely a means by which I can personally emphasize the issue of the textile industry and alternative shopping options and clothing brands that are more sustainable. My plan is to create a small business that I could operate out of my home, selling used clothes and clothing maintenance items. It would be called For the Love of the Planet and would promote and sell clothing via Instagram for the goal of making appearances at the Dallas Farmers Market, which runs every Saturday and Sunday. I will expand on my plan in the following slides. My first step in my plan is that I will need to get an Instagram up and running, which that does not take very long, and I plan on operating it out of my home. I would want my page to be obviously a resource where people can come and buy clothing, but I would also want it to be a resource that included facts about textiles' contribution to climate change, advocacy opportunities, and sustainable certified ethical clothing brands. Next, I would purchase clothes from the thrift store that need minor repairs, mend them, and wash them in organic and chemical-free solutions. Then I can begin taking photos of the clothing and posting them onto the Instagram. Next is my second step. For the second step, I would need to apply for a permit to sell at the Dallas Farmers Market. Although the Dallas Farmers Market accepts other businesses other than agricultural businesses, they currently have nothing like my business idea. So this would be something new for the local farmers and shoppers at the Dallas Farmers Market to encounter. It's the perfect location for a shop like mine because shopping locally is a common lifestyle choice of those who are concerned about climate change. So I would be hoping to attract that crowd. And also, it's a great way to support local farmers who are being, more sustainable in that they grow their crops locally. There's no shipping and the effects that come from that, and also no groundwater pollution. Lastly, I would need to reach out to the local UNICEF Unite chapter to seek their approval to promote UNICEF on my Instagram page and at my stand at the farmers market. This is a big part of my overall business plan, and I'm going to explain a little more about that right now. This is attainable for me to reach out to UNICEF and expect a prompt response because I'm on the council for the UNICEF North Texas team. UNICEF advocates on behalf of the protection of children and have recently claimed climate change as a means of child endangerment. In doing so, they now vow to advocate that global governments protect the planet on behalf of the world's most vulnerable children who are already dying due to the effects of climate change. UNICEF uses a concept called text to advocate that allows anyone to text a keyword to the specific number, and it automatically sends a link back in response that routes you to a UNICEF page. On that UNICEF page, it just asks you for your name and your address, and it matches you with your local representatives. It curates an email that it sends to each of your representatives on behalf of you. So currently, climate is the keyword to direct a texter to a climate email for representatives. I would want this feature to be promoted on my Instagram and at my booth at the Dallas Farmers Market, because although individual lifestyle changes are important in the fight against climate change, advocacy is vital to changing policy. It is also important to note that I would not be aiming to make any personal profit from my business. I would use any money made towards purchasing new clothes to sell, and any overflow would be donated to UNICEF on behalf of protecting children against climate change. In the next year, my hope would be to see the public discourse changing around the conversation of climate change and for it to include textile. I would hope to see more celebrities and influencers promoting certified sustainable clothing to shed some light on the issue of textile pollution and to show people that it's easy to shop sustainably. I also would hope that these people would be promoting that shopping secondhand has never been more easy through shops such as ThredUp. That's a great resource to buy nice clothes secondhand. In the next couple of years, I would also like to see certified sustainable stores such as Pact open more standalone shops and become more mainstream in clothing shopping. Conversely, I would like to see the decrease in the popularity of fast fashion stores such as Zara and Forever 21. I think that will largely occur from social pressure, and that is done a lot through advocates like us who take action in our day-to-day lives, but also on a legislative level to advocate for kids. Although I wish there was more that I could do, I know it's important to educate those within my own circle and to continue challenging myself to be consistent in my values as well. It's important that educating people on difficult topics be accompanied by solutions and personal empowerment. I'm confident that my plan could be successfully orchestrated through today's modern social limitations, that it would just be an awesome opportunity that despite our social limitations right now, there could be shopping online, we can still shop sustainably, and that when things open back up, we can shop secondhand at our local farmers markets.